Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is another Noblenews special coverage. In this program, where girls lead, nations follow, CGE's 2025 Education Summit inspires a new generation of courage, education, and hope. I will be taking you through a remarkable gathering that celebrated not only International Day of the Girl Child, but also the enduring power of education to transform communities, uplift generations, and reshape the nation's future. There are moments in a nation's story when the rhythm of hope rises not from grand political speeches, but from the laughter, voices, and dreams of its young girls. On such a day, October 16, 2025, the Center for Girls Education, CGE Zaria, gathered a constellation of hope, courage, and possibility at the Abdullahi Mahadi Conference Center of Ahmadu Bello University, ABU, Zaria. It was the center's first ever Girls Education Summit, a landmark commemoration of the International Day of the Girl Child. Theme: The Girl I Am, the Change I Lead, Girls on the Frontlines of Crises. For Noblenews, this was more than a coverage. It was a participation in history. Our reporters joined distinguished media professionals, educators, and policymakers to document a moment that transcended advocacy and became a movement. The 1,000-seater auditorium glowed with color and conviction as hundreds of girls, educators, parents, traditional rulers, development partners converged, not merely to mark a global day, but to measure the strides of progress and the distance yet to cover. For CGE, the day symbolized both celebration and stock-taking, a reflection on years spent nurturing confidence, education, and leadership among girls who once stood on the margins of opportunity. Among the distinguished guests was the Vice Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University, Professor Ahmadu, who served as chief host. The Emir of Zazzau, royal father of the day, was ably represented by architect Abubakar Haruna Bamali, the district head of Basawa. The Kaduna state government was copiously represented as officials from the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security stood in for their respective commissioners. Also present were the directors of the State Universal Basic Education Board and the Kaduna State School Quality Assurance Authority. The legislative arm of the state made its presence felt through Honorable Barrister Mahmoud Lawal, Chairman of the House Committee on Education, Kaduna State House of Assembly. Development partners were not left out, with Hajia Bahijjo Garku representing the United Nations Population Fund. Other key institutions in attendance included the State Project Implementation Unit of the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment, AGILE, both the girls and the boys projects, alongside several non-governmental organizations. The summit also drew unprecedented media attention, a reflection CGE's expanding collaboration with the press through its Memorandum of Understanding with the media partners. This initiative, championed by Empower Her Education, CGE's flagship advocacy for 12 years of uninterrupted education for the girl child, symbolized a shared mission between storytellers and change makers to amplify the voices of girls whose stories too often go untold. For many, it was a historic milestone, the first time CGE will convene a full-scale summit to celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child. 10 of the center's dynamic departments took part, including the Empower Education, the Married Adolescent Safe Spaces, Preschool Safe Spaces, Girls for Education and Health Project, Agile Girls, Apprentice-Based Vocational Training, Pathways to Choice, Agile Boys, the Cascading Mentorship Projects, and the CGE's interns. Each unit showcased the depth of its engagement, the creativity of its members, and the powerful outcomes of sustained mentorship. The event radiated energy and grace, from cultural performances to inspiring testimonies of transformation. The most stirring moments came when graduates of CGE's programs took the stage, now professionals and community leaders, recounting how the center had shaped their journey from uncertainty to self-assurance, from low esteem to ambitious role models, from unemployment to gainful services at federal and state levels, from dependency to self-reliance, from obscurity to recognition, from tutored to advocates, and from mentees to mentors. Their stories painted a vivid portrait of progress. Girls who once feared silence now lead campaigns, teach others, and redefine what empowerment truly means. What made the summit even more remarkable was the diversity of its participants, a living spectrum of CGE's inclusive vision. To the confident voices of Empower Education advocates championing 12 years of uninterrupted schooling, every age and stage of girlhood found representation. The Cascading Mentorship Project and CGE's interns reflect maturity and mentorship, accommodating young adults, including mothers and even physically challenged participants who defied limitations to learn and lead. From infants to a mother of 5, CGE's safe spaces embodied a holistic model of empowerment, nurturing not just girls, but generation of women in the making. Complementing the speeches and performances was an inspiring exhibition of creativity and enterprise. On the center stage, visitors were greeted by stalls displaying an array of products proudly made by the girls, from neatly packaged groundnut cakes, kuli, and processed foods to beautifully embroidered fabrics, tailoring designs, and many other accessories. Each item reflected not only the skills but self-worth, evidence that CGE's model of education goes beyond classroom, nurturing self-reliance, innovation, and dignity in labor. The exhibition stood as a colorful gallery of purpose where empowerment was not merely spoken but tangibly displayed. Then came the words that anchored the day, an address by Hajia Habiba Muhammad, director of the Center for Girls Education, whose speech blended humility with conviction.
In times of crisis, girls often may be forced to drop out of school, face early marriage, or become vulnerable to exploitation. However, today we celebrate the girls who refuse to be defined by their circumstances. Instead, they are using their voices, skills, and determination to drive positive changes.
She went on to reaffirm the center's philosophy that education is not merely about literacy, but liberation.
Every girl, no matter where she comes from, deserves the chance to learn, dream, and strive. We believe that when girls are educated and empowered, they don't just rise, they lift others as they rise.
She extended deep gratitude to partners, funders, and traditional institutions for their unwavering support in nurturing young women in leadership.
To extend our profound gratitudes to the Kaduna State Government, the Zazzau Emirate Council, our traditional and religious leaders, teachers and mentors, parents parents and husbands of our girls, our funders, which include the Malala Fund, UNFPA, Co-Impact, Oasis, The Smith, Jim Haskovitz, Gates Foundation, Echidna Giving, and the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria community. Other civil society organizations and the government of Kaduna and Katsina states who have been key in supporting our girls. Thank you all for standing with our girls today and always.
The applause that followed felt like an embrace, one that affirmed the shared vision of every guest in the hall. When the Vice Chancellor, Professor Ahmed Adamu, took the podium, he brought both reflection and reassurance, a blend of fatherly wisdom and institutional commitment. He began by commending CGE's relentless drive to prioritize education for girls before turning to a striking observation.
For us as a university, let me say that we are putting a lot of effort to prioritize our admissions for girls. It is very refreshing to see over the last few years that the ratio between boys and girls in this university keeps improving. As at the last year's admission, nearly 42% of admitted students were girls.
He highlighted ABU's deliberate effort to create a more inclusive academic environment for female students.
Let me also say, over the last 10 years, we have created more accommodation for girls. The largest hostel in this university, Suleiman Hall, was converted to female hostel. Aliko Dangote Foundation committed to building a 1,400 bed space for girls. Every girl child, know that we stand by you and will continue to promote and give you all the necessary support, including scholarships in the years to come. And the members of the press, please take this message to every corner, to the legislature, to the executive, to our business communities. Let us invest more in our schools so that we give more opportunity for girls.
His message resonated deeply, a reminder that true leadership begins with listening to those who have long been unheard. In a drastic twist of fate and effort, many stakeholders observe that the Center for Girls' Education has effectively rewritten the story of the gender disparity in education. Once it was the girls who needed urgent rescue from the margins of illiteracy, today it is the boys who are slipping behind. The latest statistics reveal an unexpected reversals. Girls are now outperforming boys in enrollment, attendance, and academic achievements. What was once a campaign to bring girls to school has become a call to bring boys back from the streets, from substance abuse, and from growing disinterest in learning.
Da ana kukan karatun mata ne, amma a yanzu ratio na performance na mata ya ninka na maza. Yanzu zan yi kira ga Center for Girls' Education, za ku fito da Center for Girls' Education, saboda yanzu zamanwa shaye-shaye yana kassara tunanin ya matasanmu.
Because in the past it was the girls that were left behind. But now, with the persistent advocacies on girls' education, honestly speaking, our boys are lagging behind in terms of performance. So something needs to be done.
Across the summit hall, voices converge in a shared conviction. The time has come for a center for boys' education. And in that reversal lies perhaps the most profound testimony to CGE's success. The transformation of girls from the excluded to exemplary stand as a living tribute to Hajia Habiba Muhammad's foresight, her devotion, and her unyielding faith in the power of education to turn destinies around. The climax of the Education Summit came with a defining moment, a policy pronouncement that electrified the hall. Honorable Barrister Mahmoud Lawal, chairman of the Kaduna State House Committee on Education, announced that the State Assembly has initiated a bill to institutionalize 12 uninterrupted years of free and compulsory education for girls in Kaduna State.
This bill provides for the establishment and regulation of self-spaced approach approaches to protect individuals from harassment, discrimination, promote inclusive participation, and ensure accessible and respectful environment in education, workplace. It sets governance structure, standard, mechanism, and enforcement in Kaduna State.
The declaration drew thunderous standing ovation as he read portions of the proposed bill to the audience, a symbolic testament to years of relentless advocacy, partnership, and purpose. It was a legislative milestone in the making, underscoring how far the campaign for girls' education has come, from grassroots activism to government policy. Observers credited this breakthrough to the productive synergy between the Center for Girls' Education and its media partners, a partnership that transformed advocacy into measurable policy action. As the curtains drew on the historic summit, the atmosphere was one of fulfillment and festivity, from the colorful display to the warm hospitality and thoughtful gifts. Every detail spoke of CGE's hallmark precision and grace. Guests and participants were treated to a refreshing ambience where celebration met purpose. Every attendee departed with branded souvenirs, vacuum cups, t-shirts, pickups, notebook and pens, and keepsakes neatly packed in elegant crafted sling bags, proudly bearing the CGE's emblem and their theme, "The girl I am, the change I lead." As the day drew to a close, the camera flashes captured not just faces but memories, smiles on triumph, tears of gratitude, and the luminous pride of a dream taking shape. The photographs became keepsakes of a transformative day, preserving the spirit of a movement into motion. These thoughtful tokens were more than commemorative items. They were symbols of pride, participation, and purpose. In the hands of each participant, they told a silent story, a journey from awareness to action, from empowerment to leadership. The atmosphere was radiant, filled with laughter, gratitude, and the shared conviction that progress is possible. It was a fitting finale to a summit that celebrated not only the girl child, but also the collective faith of all who believe that when girls lead, nations follow. These mementos were more than gifts. They stood as badges of belongings, reminders of a shared commitment to shaping a future where every girl can dream, learn, and lead with confidence. The 2025 International Day of the Girl Child Summit, hosted by Center of Girls Education, was more than an event. It was a movement renewed, a living testament to what vision, collaboration, and unwavering belief in the power of girls can achieve. Indeed, it was a day to remember, a story worth telling, a future worth building upon, and a promise worth keeping. Throughout the summit, the phrase, "The girl I am, the change I lead," echoed not as a slogan, but as a living truth. From the confident voices of young debaters to the creative display from Self-Space Club, each performance reaffirmed the transformative power of education. These were no longer beneficiaries, they were trailblazers in their own right. By the end of the day, the hall was filled not with applause alone, but with renewed conviction that investing in girls' education is not charity, it is nation building. It is the foundation upon which inclusive progress stands. As the curtains fell, one could sense that CGE's inaugural Girls Education Summit has achieved more than celebration. It had reignited a collective conscience. It reminded everyone that the girl child is not a symbol of fragility, but of possibility. That when she leads, communities prosper, and that when she learns, humanity learns with her. And so, from the heart of Zaria, a message was sent out to the world, simple, profound, and enduring. Where girls lead, nations follow. As we come to the end of this special Noblenews coverage, I want to sincerely thank the entire Center for Girls Education, CGE family, for organizing such a memorable and inspiring event in honor of the International Day of the Girl Child. A special appreciation goes to Umar Suleiman, the creative eye behind the Noblenews camera, for capturing every moment with excellence and painstakingly transforming it into a beautiful piece of cinematography. I equally acknowledge the dedication of the Center's communication team for their professionalism and support throughout this production, led by Fatima Suleiman, whose coordination and professionalism gave this coverage its seamless touch. Above all, I salute the management of the Center for Girls Education under the visionary and amiable leadership of Hajia Habiba Muhammad. Your passion, purpose, and persistence continue to illuminate the path for girls' education and empowerment. And your work remains an enduring source of inspiration to all of us. To everyone who made this event possible, and to all our viewers and readers, thank you for staying with us. From all of us at Noblenews, I am US Machika, saying thank you and God bless.